Ever been told you're expendable? Like you're just a number, a temporary resource they can cut loose whenever they feel like it? That feeling, it's a slow burn. It eats at you, this creeping sense of powerlessness. Now, imagine a smug, arrogant boss saying it to your face. And not just to you, but to a group of people who just lost their jobs. This is a story about that moment. The exact moment a manager sealed his own fate with one smug, thoughtless remark, and it's a story about a contractor who took that remark, absorbed it, and then turned it into the most satisfying, financially devastating revenge I have ever seen. If you've ever felt underappreciated, or if you've ever dreamed of serving justice to someone who wronged you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe and join our community, because this is one of the most satisfying Reddit revenge stories you'll ever hear. And trust me, you'll want to stay for the ending. Before this all went down, I was an engineering contractor at a large company. And when I say large, I mean the kind of place where the hallways are endless and everyone has a corporate-issued backpack. My team was pretty unique. There were 10 of us, all contractors, managed by one full-time employee, a guy we'll call Mark. Mark was a walking corporate cliché. He was always talking about synergy and leveraging our core competencies. But the most defining thing about him was his attitude towards us. We were contractors, not real employees. He saw us as interchangeable parts, disposable. And he didn't even try to hide it. The company itself was fairly progressive with their contracts. They were open-ended, not like a fixed 6-month gig. The general expectation was something like, this contract is expected to be 12 months, but it's at the will of the employer. For most of us, this wasn't a problem. If you worked hard and did your job, you usually got extended. The contracts were a way to get your foot in the door, to show what you could do. And for a long time, that's exactly what it felt like. We were a team. We worked hard. We put in long hours. We built things from the ground up.
But then, one afternoon, the axe fell. It was a completely normal Tuesday. The kind of day where the only excitement is whether the coffee machine is working. At 4 p.m., Mark called a few of us into a conference room. And that's where my jaw hit the floor. He told 3 of our teammates that today was their last day. That their contracts were being terminated, effective immediately. And the worst part, he made me, a fellow contractor, break the news. I was the de facto team lead, but I had no authority to do anything like that. I had to sit there, my stomach a knot of nerves, as I watched 3 good people pack up their desks, their faces a mix of shock and quiet humiliation. They weren't given any notice, no time to look for another job. Just, this is it. After they were gone, the silence in the office was deafening. It felt like a funeral. Later that afternoon, a coworker, a sharp, quiet guy I'll call Alex, and I went to Mark's office. We were both still reeling. I remember standing there, trying to sound calm, but my voice was tight. Mark, hey. How come we didn't give those guys any notice? It just seems harsh. And that's when it happened. The moment that set this entire chain of events in motion. Mark leaned back in his chair, a wide, smug smile on his face. He actually looked delighted to be having this conversation. He said, with a bright, almost chirpy tone, "That's why we hire contractors. So we can cut them loose at a moment's notice whenever we want to." My stomach dropped. Alex just stood there, his face completely expressionless. But I could see something flicker in his eyes. A spark. I tried to process what he just said. He just told us, to our faces, that we were temporary. That our loyalty meant nothing. That our jobs could be gone in an instant, with no warning. He basically told us we were next. I couldn't get his words out of my head. The smugness of his tone. The way he reveled in the power he had over us. It was a cold, hard slap in the face. It made me feel sick. Alex and I walked back to our desks without saying a word. I could feel the tension radiating off of him. He sat down, stared at his monitor for a long minute, then quietly started typing. What I didn't know at the time was that Alex was one of the sharpest engineers I had ever met. He was a coding savant, a wizard when it came to our systems. He had been quietly building some of the most complex, foundational parts of the projects we were working on. Projects that Mark was constantly bragging about to his superiors. And from that moment on, Alex had a new project. Getting out of there. Over the next few weeks, I watched him from my desk. He was quiet, focused. He never mentioned the conversation with Mark again. One day, he pulled me aside, a small, knowing smile on his face. I got another job, he said, his voice low. Starts in a few weeks. I felt a rush of relief for him. That's awesome, man, congrats. What are you gonna do? He just shrugged. I'm just gonna keep working here for now. Don't tell anyone. And that's what he did. For 2 more weeks, Alex came into the office every day. He worked diligently. He smiled at Mark. He finished up his projects, or at least, he made it look like he did. He was right in the middle of a massive, critical project that only he understood. It was a complex series of back-end integrations that were essential for the entire system to function. It was his masterpiece. And he was working on it right up until the end. This wasn't just a simple project. It was the linchpin. It was the thing that would either make the entire system work, or cause the whole thing to come crashing down. And Alex was the only one who had the key. The day finally came. It was a Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. on the dot. Just as the office was starting to wind down, Alex stood up from his desk. He didn't say a word. He just unplugged his laptop, his mouse, and the docking station, and slowly, deliberately, put them in his backpack. The entire office seemed to go quiet, as if on cue. Everyone was watching. He walked past our desks, a confident stride I'd never seen him use before. He went straight to Mark's desk, which was at the front of the office. Mark was still in a meeting, but Alex waited patiently. He wasn't in a hurry. When the meeting ended, Mark looked up, a little confused. Alex put his laptop on Mark's desk. He looked at him, not with anger, but with the same bright, almost smug expression that Mark had used on us weeks earlier. Alex said, his voice clear and cheerful, "Hey, Mark. Thanks for everything. This is my last day." Mark's jaw went slack. His eyes widened. "Wait, what, you're leaving?" he stammered. Alex just smiled. "Yes, thanks." He turned and walked away. No long goodbyes. No explanations. Just a final, decisive action. And that was it. He walked right out the front door, leaving a stunned silence in his wake. Just as he walked out, an email popped up in our inboxes. It was from Alex. The subject line, "My last day." It was a short, to-the-point message, officially confirming his resignation. He had literally hit send and walked out the door, all in a matter of seconds. What Mark didn't realize was just how deep the hole Alex had dug. He left his work half done. He hadn't answered any of the questions about his code. The project he was working on was so complex, and so uniquely his, that none of us could figure it out. Over the next few weeks, the panic set in. Mark was scrambling. He called Alex. No answer. He emailed him. No reply. He even tried to reach out to his new company. Nothing. For an entire month, we were lost. That critical project, the one that was supposed to be Mark's big win, was completely dead in the water. It took a whole team of us over a month to untangle Alex's code and figure out what he was building, and by that point, the company had lost a huge amount of money. All because Mark couldn't resist a smug, power-tripping comment. It was a beautiful, devastating piece of revenge. Alex wasn't just getting back at a bad boss, he was proving a point. He was showing them that contractors aren't just disposable resources. We are people with skills, with knowledge, with the power to walk away and take that power with us. If Mark had just shown a little respect, a little compassion, Alex would have given a 2-week notice and a smooth handover. But he chose arrogance. And he paid the price.